Hello guys and welcome back to another video, and today we have a running session with the best bargain locomotives I have purchased. So there are 6, there is 1 from each of the big 4 plus BR and a diesel. So I'm going to explain why they're bargains, this, that and the other throughout the video, and why they're the best sort of value for money locos that I've got in the collection. So let's get to it. So the first locomotive is what I always say is the best value for money locomotive I have, and I'll explain why. And the best bargain. It's one of my favourite locos in the collection. It is the Hornby Adams Radial tank in Betroe's line black 30583. It is the preserved example, and I'll explain why this is the best value for money locomotive and the best bargain that I have right now. So this is a Hornby one, so it's a super detailed premium loco. It's not got the flaws of the Oxford Rail ones. They're also quite difficult to get hold of, and it's beautiful. Die-cast spoiler, die-cast side tanks. It weighs a ton. It's powerful, and it runs beautifully. And I love the Adams Radial tank. Always have done, and I've always wanted one. So this one came up on Kernel Model Verse Center. They were shifting a few, and it was 52% off, brand new. So this locomotive, brand spanking new, cost me £67 for a die-cast super detailed locomotive. And I was like, what? It's incredible value for money for what you get, and I've had it a very long time now. Probably coming up to 3 years this year. I'm sure it's 3 years. So I've had it a while, and it's been fantastic. So I'm super happy with the locomotive in general. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and it's very, very, very inexpensive. Now, if you can find these, I don't know if you'll get them as cheap as £67, but even for 100, around the 100 mark, you're getting a fantastic locomotive, and I do recommend these highly. And if you like the sort of unique pre-grouping late 1800s design, which I absolutely love, by the way, then you're going to love it. So this is my southern example of a bargain locomotive. However, I still like the other ones I have are also were also inexpensive and amazing as well. So that's also fair enough. But I had to pick this one because it was 67 quid, brand new, and just look at it. It's super detailed and die-cast and awesome. So yeah, we will now move on. We'll get through these quickly. We don't want to keep you guys too long, so we'll run through them as quickly as possible. So the next locomotive is LNER, and it is a freighter, but we're still running it with coaches because I think it's a gorgeous loco, and I think it suits coaches really well. This is the Hornby Thompson 01. Now, most of these locos are Hornby, actually. There's 4 of them are Hornby, 2 of them are Bachmann, but this is a 280 locomotive that was actually inexpensive when it was released, and these are actually widely available for an inexpensive amount of money. You can find these quite cheaply all the time. I think this one cost me about £80, which I think it was second hand, but it is still very well detailed. It's not the most detailed loco in the world. They sort of did it on a budget, reasonable budget, like Hornby when they did this, but it's still super detailed. I mean, you still have the painted caps, sprung buffers, all of that jazz. No sophisticated liveries because it's a freight loco, which you would expect. And I believe they were at like £99 when they were new anyway, so it's not too expensive. So this was £80, and for a 280 locomotive, it's not the heaviest, but it's still very, very powerful. Great runner, and mechanism strong, so it is a fantastic thing. So I've always sort of liked the Thompson 01, so I decided to take the plunge and get one, and I'm glad I did, obviously. And it is lovely. So it's not the cheapest loco in this video. The cheapest loco is coming up later on, but this is also not the only 280 loco in this video either, but this is still a nice one. The 280 later is even better though, in my opinion. It's prettier as well, but this is a fantastic loco, so I can't complain at all. So yeah, it is lovely though. But I do say, if you want a 280 that's inexpensive, reasonably powerful, can do what you need it to do, and you don't mind an LNR regional locomotive, get a Thompson 01, because they're widely available, and they're always inexpensive, so not too bad. The 8Fs fetch a massive premium, the 7Fs are very expensive, so yeah, this is as good, it's probably the best package you're going to get, really, for a 280 for an inexpensive amount of money now, so yeah. Right, on to the next one. Right, the next locomotive is not pulling coaches. It is the Bachmann G2a, or the Super D, as it's also known. Now we'll speed this up in a minute because it's quite a heavy train, so... I'm looking not at the loco there. So yeah, this is a big, heavy 080 freight locomotive, one of only 2 080 locos you can get in ready-to-run form at the minute. English ones, obviously, or British ones, whatever you want to call them. So this is an LNWR locomotive, pre-grouping as well, which quite a lot of my locos are, I seem to find. So, gorgeous thing. It's a freight loco. I believe it was like a 6F classification in strength, so it was quite a powerful one. And this was about 80 quid, about the same as the Thompson 01. And these are also widely available for a reasonable amount of money. But out of all of my LMS locos, this was, I think, the best value for money in terms of what you get power-wise. The detail's still fantastic, and it was also, I think, the cheapest in terms of just, if you count it as a super detailed locomotive, it was very inexpensive. So it's one of those. It's just, yeah, that's why I chose it. It is I would say, the best value for money in terms of what I paid for what you get. Like, my 7F was nearly twice the price of this, and I don't see much of the difference between the two in terms of what you get for the money with this and what you get for your money with the 7F. So you get 7F tax when you buy a 7F. Anyway, so yeah, it's a gorgeous thing. I do like it a lot, and it's powerful. It runs really well, and as you can see, it's hauling reasonable size train, absolutely fine. And those 4 front wagons have real coal in, so they're very, very heavy. But it's managing perfectly fine. So it's exactly what you want for a freighter. So the next one is a freighter, but I'm going to run it with, well, in fact, the next 2 are both freighters, and I'm going to run, I think, both of them with coaches though. So at least we've had at least a bit of freight today. But we will get on to the next locomotive now. Oh, Jesus, the camera's falling over. Oh, you can just see a Land Rover now. There you go. The Lima GUV that I'm wedging this up with is not heavy enough to support the phone. Right, there you go. The next one is the Great Western Region loco, and it is the 28XX. And I'll explain now why this is the most valuable, the most value for money Great Western loco I have. And it's one of my favourites. But it was a time between, I couldn't really pick a couple of the others because I didn't buy some of the others. So it was sort of a weird one. But this is the Hornby 28XX, which is actually running quite fast, so I need to slow it down a little bit because it's geared to run freight speed. Come on, 28XX. Run nicely for me. That's the ticket. There you go. So this is my favourite Great Western locomotive ever, and in the collection and in real life. I love the class. And it's running with Great Western coaches, nice and slowly around the track. This is what you want. So we could just look at it. That is beautiful. But anyway, this is a loco I've had for 4 years now, and will continue to have for a very, very long time, hopefully, fingers crossed, that it doesn't blow up. I should have put the blanking plate in this loco, because it is DCC fitted, which you would probably find odd, that I don't have a DCC controller, but I don't. But it is what it is. Here it comes. Not yet, anyway. My intention is to always get one, and it's a bit too late. It's just later than I anticipated getting it, but it is what it is. But this locomotive cost me £100 4 years ago, actually. So if you think about that now, it'd be quite a bit of money. You don't get a lot for 100 quid now that you did back then. You don't get one of these for 100 quid. It was second hand, but it's DCC fitted and it's super detail and it looks fantastic. And it was 100 quid. Now, the reason I couldn't choose another Great Western Loco is because I had to choose between... Why are you stopping? Track's playing up. I had to choose between City of Truro, which has the value for money of flushing stuff down the toilet, and flushing money down the toilet, and a couple of the Dapple ones, which are much more expensive than this, and some Locos that I've got for free, or some older ones, so it didn't really work. But yeah, so that's why. What I'm going to do is stop this, because it's doing my head in, and pop the next Loco on, which is the second to last Loco. Come on, you stupid thing. There we go. Right, the next Loco is here, and it is representing British Railways. I've got it sort of heritage style with like a support coach, because this used to run on the main line. The rear coach is uncoupled again, and it's doing my head in. This is the British Railway Standard Class 9 9F Evening Star 92220, and it is the least expensive Loco in this video, in that it cost me £62, and this is the Loco Drive Railroad one, but it's like stepped up railroad, because it's got sprung buffers and it's well detailed, so a bit of an odd one. But I found this on eBay on bids, and I bid on it, and nobody else bid on it, so I won it. And I bid 60 quid, I think it was, with postage, with £2 postage, and yeah, it became mine. So this was a £62 locomotive, which I think is ridiculous. So this was actually less expensive than the Adams Radial thing. Yes, it is second hand and it is an old Loco. It's not the most detailed in the world, but it runs lovely. It looks fantastic. And we'll get another 9F down the line. And yeah, it's just running really well. So, but apart from the track's not, because the track has decided for some unknown reason to sort of stop working properly. So yeah, never mind. We're going to go on to the last Loco shortly. But yeah, this is the least expensive Loco here. So, but these have got a good mechanism in it. The only problems with these is they suffer from Mazak rot. Now, hopefully mine does not. It's not so far. So you never know. It might in the future, but you can sort them out. At least they make a new Hornby 9F anyway, in case that ever happens. So, but yeah, it's the older one, but it's what all I really need for this Loco. So, all I need for a 9F. So it's all I need for now. So I'm happy with how it is, and yeah, it looks fantastic. So, and it's very powerful as well, because it's a 10-wheel drive locomotive. So yeah. We're going to go on to the last Loco now. So the last locomotive then is this, the Class 57 that I have, which is Northern Princess in the Northern Bell livery. Now, I had always wanted a Class 57 in the Northern Bell livery, and managed to find this one for a discounted price at Hatton's, Legend Hatton's Model Railways, who is sadly no longer with us. But anyway, this obviously doesn't have Northern Bell coaches to match yet. I will get some eventually, but they're very, very expensive. But this was actually not expensive at all. Not for a super detailed Bachmann locomotive. Anyway, specifically a Class 57, because as you can see, this is incredibly well detailed. And I bought, well, I don't know if I can't remember whether I bought the 47 before this or after this. I think it was after this, to be honest. But anyway, this cost I think, frankly, staggeringly inexpensive £105, which obviously means I think it's the highest amount out of all of the Locos in this video. But it's a super detailed Bachmann diesel. And it's a Northern Bell one, which do fetch quite big money normally. So, was definitely a bargain. In fact, even for the 155 that it was up for originally, I think it's cheap. So, yeah, it's also working lights, etc. And it's perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it came unboxed, so that was a big factor into the reduced cost. But I mean, it's just a box at the end of the day, and you can get Class 47 boxes that they fit into. But diesels are just so effortless. Like, they just like go round perfectly with no like issues whatsoever. I mean, just so smooth and just easy and just relaxing and just easy to just use. And it's just like, oh, it's why I think a lot of the time diesels are fantastic things, and I do love them. So, but yes, it is a Class 57. So this I do sometimes when I feel like it run them mainline style, you know, with the steam at the front and these pushing at the back. Well, banking. It's not pushing, is it, from the back? But you know what I mean? The track decides it wants to move itself. I don't know how track moves on its own when it's got, like, how does it move? How do you move? Stop moving. That Pullman coach is not coupled properly. Ever. Because the couplings are too crap. There we go. Managed to fix it. But yeah, so this is the last loco of this video, which has been a bit of a nightmare and a bit of a disaster, but that's part of the entertainment. And yeah, so comment below which you think is the best bargain locomotive. I know which I personally think is the best. It's either this or the Adams Radial, but to be honest, I think the Adams Radial is just spectacular for what it cost. But yeah, you comment down below what you think is the best, which one you would have, and the Pullman coach has decided to depart from the rails. So, and the Class 57 is just continuing on as normal. So yeah, never mind. So yeah, on that note of disaster, thank you all for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you very soon for some more videos. Goodbye.